Oh, we're on. Great. Okay. Welcome to the August 4th, 2014 Board of Selectmen meeting. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Warrants to be signed. Everybody took care of that. I think we've got under new business another Spot Inc. DBA The Spot requesting a change for manager and change of beneficial interest. So Jason, you want to come on up?
And Jill just walked in.
How do you like that?
Perfect time.
Nice timing, Jill.
Oh,
Right on there.
you hear me running up the stairs.
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
you?
Tell you're coming up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh,
Take a breath.
I know, huh?
Well, we're excited to see you
Great
guys
place to stay.
opening soon. Tomorrow night's kind of the soft opening with a VIP kind of
Yeah,
invite thing.
we've had a soft opening tonight and last night with some friends and family that are within the restaurant group to
Right.
give us some trial runs. Tomorrow's the VIP, and then Wednesday's
Full
open
blown.
to the public. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Great. Long time coming. We're excited.
It looks good in there.
Good luck.
You guys are
I'll
looking
see you guys tomorrow night.
Good, good.
Looking forward to it. So, really, this is just simple, basic transfer of our manager
Yes.
to Jason and Jimmy, right? Are you an Arthur and Jimmy family?
He's my uncle. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew Arthur way back when from his days in the restaurant business.
He opened another one in Salem now.
Oh,
just
really?
about a year ago, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I don't know, gentlemen, if you have any questions. I was just looking through the paperwork. Things seem to be in order, right, Janet? Based on what I saw. And it's pretty much a simple vote to transfer the the manager over to Jason and Jimmy from, who was it, Mark before?
It was actually Kai Walkowiak.
Kai, okay.
And Kai still does work for the company.
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen?
No questions. I just looked through all the paperwork. You've got some really good background in working in the restaurant business for a few years. You're a local guy, not too far away from TV, and I think that we hope to be taking care of our customers here.
Of course, yeah. That's the plan.
All right. Any other questions? Gary? No? No. All right. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we transfer change the manager of the restaurant located 19 West Main Street under the name of The Spot Inc., DBA, from Kai Wachovia and to Jason and Jimmy. Hope I said that right.
Second that.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. You're in
Also,
business.
we did disclose to you that we have a beneficial interest holder.
Right.
So all of the restaurants are owned by this group called Serenity.
Serenity. Yep.
So we have to actually disclose it. So we started to do that now because we formed a management agreement. So that's why that's also in there.
Okay.
And whenever you're taking a percentage of the sales that are derived from the sale of alcohol, we have to report it to both you
Entities.
as well as the ABCC. So that is also part of your package.
Okay. Great.
Okay?
You guys are in good shape. Look forward to seeing you open on Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Sounds
Exciting.
good. Look
All
forward
right.
to seeing you all.
Take
Take care. Thanks,
Good
guys.
to see you again.
Thank
I
you.
like that.
How's that?
Quick.
It's because the heat's not. I mean, the heat's on, so we're just trying to get out of here real quick.
For the planning board
Oh
last
yeah,
time.
wasn't that fun?
I think that was
Should have seen
purposeful.
Thanks
more
for
Bob
that,
Howard.
All right, next item. Actually, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. We'll come back to the home funding agreement and the donation here from GAA. We have a request from Fire Police to appoint Michael Broderick as a full-time police officer effective September 1st of 14. So you want to come up? Get you guys taken care of?
Thank you. Mike,
Hopefully out of here quickly.
good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight I have before you Reserve Officer Mike Broderick, and the reason for the appointment, as we had discussed during the last budget season, was that we have a pending retirement coming up this fiscal year, and getting his replacement, not necessarily the ranking position, but the position itself as a full-time officer in the academy for a 6-month training. We finally made the step for the first time to actually have someone in training while that person is still on duty, so that we don't have to fill the position twice.
Good.
So we're actually saving some money by being proactive, so
Great.
I think that was a good move.
Yep.
And it's been beneficial to us from a budget standpoint. The process for selecting a full-time officer was we posted the position from within. That's the purpose of our reserve force. The police department right now has 17 reserves. So you can imagine the competition is quite competitive. The position is posted during the process. The performance of that reserve during their tenure here, as well as a physical fitness exam, and then an assessment, which Officer Broderick can attest to was probably his most daunting task. And I told him I also went through one too when I became chief with the Board of Selectmen, so I'm very familiar with the process. So Mike had topped those exams, and actually he was the only candidate who topped the physical fitness exam without having to redo any of the stations. So we're proud of Mike in that regard. His background comes with a wealth of knowledge in law enforcement. He's born and bred in Beverly, I believe. Lives there with his wife and 2 children, and has a bachelor's of science from Mass Maritime. And he worked in the offshore business for a while, and then became a harbor master in Beverly. That's where his law enforcement career began in 2001. And then we were able to find him, and he came to work here in Georgetown as a reserve in 2010. On an aside, Mike is also a captain with the Boston duck boats, so he's knowledgeable in that arena as well.
You drive the duck boats?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Nice.
he does.
You go quack quack too?
All the
I
time.
love it.
Quack, quack.
I'm so jealous.
I know. I want to do that for a living. Seriously, that looks
Well,
like a
and
lot of fun.
It's interesting. He didn't put that in his bio, but I knew that about
I'm
him.
glad you brought that up. It busts his balls.
So-
A duck boat in the rock pond.
So he is a
where
bit
it
famed,
Yeah,
yeah.
just call it harbor
Um,
master.
Probably the biggest asset that Mike has brought here in the last 4 years is his volunteerism here to the town of Georgetown. Any position that I posted, Mike has stepped up. It didn't require him to be paid. He's a busy man. He's got a young family. He has a couple of careers going, but every position that was posted, Mike volunteered for. The Explorer program, the drug drop-off program. He just volunteered to be the assistant harbor master. Coincidentally, he's fully trained and certified in all that arena, so that's
We'll get him a
That's
duck
amazing.
hat. Squeaky Bill.
probably shouldn't have told him the duck thing, but
That's okay.
We're coming back to it.
and he's also part of the honor guard and the motorcycle unit. So all of those positions are unpaid, and I think he does it out of the love of the job and for our community. So I applaud him for that. I request tonight that the board seriously consider his appointment to full-time. His appointment should begin September 1st, and there's a probationary period during that appointment until he does complete the academy, the 6-month academy, which he'll start on September 8th. And he's due to graduate around March, depending on the calendar, and then it will work right in line with the replacement of our other full-time officer, and the complement of the department from a full-size perspective remains the same. And additionally, there's an agreement that he has signed with the town in my office that he is a probationary employee until such time he does complete that academy, because without the completion of that academy, he's not considered to be an employee. He's an at-will employee until he does that. So if I could have the chairman take a look at that as well, appreciate it. And that's my report.
Thank you. Gentlemen, questions?
Sounds like a welcome addition to the force.
I'm very excited for him.
We are too. Anything you want to share with us, Mike?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I'm very excited myself. I've been here almost 5 years at this point, and I think it's a great fit. Great little town here, right down the street in Beverly, and it's worked out very well.
And his wife is in the audience
This is my
tonight,
wife,
too.
Jill.
Love Jill.
Jill.
She doesn't drive ducks.
Maybe you can teach
Still
them.
time.
That's right.
We could
still
start you out here in the pond.
fine.
Yeah.
Got a couple puns you could practice
All
on.
right. Mike, you have a great background, experience. I love the mass maritime background, to start off from a leadership standpoint there. Your experience working in town, I think you probably after 5 years know some of the, or most of the intricacies of Georgetown and our community, and these guys take their job serious, as I'm sure you will. Our citizens in Georgetown, for the most part, really appreciate the work that the police do. There are a few, obviously, who think we get a little too harsh on them, but I will tell you, just in the last year or two, the compliments I've gotten from, and Chief, this is to you and to your force, the compliments I have gotten over the last year or so now, I get them often now, very often, about the work and how you treat the citizens of Georgetown. Not that they were treated badly before, but I think you guys made a concerted effort to continue that. So, Michael, we certainly look forward to you to continue the great work that these guys have done, and welcome to Georgetown.
Thank you.
In a full-time position, hopefully.
Gary? Anything? No, you good?
I'm quiet right now.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Michael Broderick as a full-time police officer with the start date of September 1st, 2014, with an expiration date of June 30th, 2015.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Welcome.
and congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your volunteer service, too.
Oh, you're welcome.
It goes a long way in our book.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good one, Chief.
Thank you.
As always.
I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Congratulations as well, Jill.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Good night.
More business?
I was told to stay for the truck ordinance. Is that on?
Okay. Yeah, we could hit that now if you
Or
want.
would you like to move on to other business and wait? It's up to
No,
you.
we could. No, while you're here, let's do that.
All right.
Chief, do you need to take a photo with your newest,
I already did, but I'll do another one.
yeah. That was unofficial, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's official now with it.
Yeah, now you can get the official photo. There you go. Detective Rodden's our photographer over there. All right, our next topic, since the chief is here, is the food truck regulations. So, what we need to do, gentlemen, from what I understand, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, is we need to appoint a little bit of a subcommittee to review this. It'll come up, for public comment if needed and whatnot. So, I guess our suggestion would be
Section 3.
chief, right? Health department and what, maybe a board of selectmen member? Is it in here?
Yeah, section 3.
Representatives from the Public Works Department, Police Department, the Building Department, the Health Department, and the Fire Department. Purpose reviewing applications for mobile food vehicle permits, approval of the locations, and establishing rules and regulations as appropriate.
Okay. All right. So,
I think what's happened
some
too
input on that?
Sure. Is 2 years ago, when we brought forward the solicitation bylaw, which was successfully passed at town meeting and then adopted after the AG's review of the bylaw, then prompted a civil fingerprint bylaw, which was put before town meeting in the fall. Now, the civil fingerprint bylaw pertains to hawkers and peddlers and all those other licensees that we had discussed at that previous meeting. I'll list them so that everybody knows what they are. Hawkers and peddling, door-to-door solicitation, manager of alcohol beverages licensing, owner or operator of public conveyance, dealer of secondhand articles, pawn dealers, hackney drivers, and ice cream truck vendors. Now, the predicate to that was, if you can recall, a number of months ago, I came before you with the ice cream truck vendor regulation, where the town had to create a licensing authority just for ice cream truck vendors.
Right.
It's specific to ice cream truck vendors, and the Board of Health confirmed that their permitting process for such, they have 3 different permits. They have an application for prepackaged food permit is 1. They have an application for a mobile food unit or a push cart, 2. And then the third one is application for milk/frozen dessert. And they're all very specific to that particular food. I guess the application concerning the cupcake was somewhat,
In between.
yeah.
We just didn't have any, it was silent on all
Yeah,
of it.
it's not ice cream.
Right.
It's not a push cart because if it's a van or motorized vehicle, it's considered the third type of permit.
Right.
And I think what we probably need to do is, there is no bylaw concerning the ice cream truck vendor. That's a Massachusetts legislative act which was created. And then the fingerprint bylaw allows you to do the appropriate background check on those applicants. What happens for other hawkers and peddlers is they'll have a Commonwealth permit that I sign a couple of them a year for people who reside in Georgetown. You have to go to your local police department, good moral character, a records check. I sign the form. They pay the Commonwealth, I think it's $60 or $65, I'm not sure of the fee. And then they're allowed to use that hawkers and peddlers license, because when I spoke to Janet, we don't issue that permit. And if someone were to issue a permit here, we don't have a bylaw that backs up, it's approval from the board concerning whether you have the push card or those vendors. But we don't have any legislative enactment to deal with that.
Okay.
So we're kind of in a,
Limbo.
yeah, in kind of a zone there. I mean, the ice cream truck has been solidified, but we can add that because under the civil fingerprint bylaw, we have the ability to do background checks on all of those things that were voted on at town meeting, pending the approval of the AG's office. I don't believe that one's been approved yet. I don't believe, right, Jim? No. But the solicitation bylaw has.
Yeah.
It's worked.
Yeah, it's worked a couple times.
I think a couple of board members
than
even know
once.
it's worked.
Yeah.
I've actually revoked a permit based on
One
conduct.
recently, yeah.
And there's been no appeal to the board, to my knowledge, within that 30-day window. And so that process is working. The background check concerning ice cream vendors, I met with the Board of Health this morning. They told me that since the enactment of that new legislation, they had 3 permits pending, and everybody, they're all gone. So we haven't had an ice cream truck vendor permit for me to act on, nor do a background check on somebody.
Is the permit issued because the owner's in town? What if it's an out-of-town?
If they're gonna solicit in this town, they
They
have
need
to
it.
apply. That's
Okay.
correct.
So if an ice cream truck shows
Annually?
up in town, then
They're
that can be
permitted,
questioned.
yeah, and they're permitted from their residential address. They have to show the permit,
But they would have to show a permit for Georgetown as well.
correct.
Okay.
There was one going around earlier in the year. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, is that an annual permit?
Yes,
It is.
So that could have expired.
it could have.
Maybe. I heard
Depending on the year
I've heard
they
the bell
apply.
ringing around a little bit.
So if you
Yeah.
live in Groveland and you have an ice cream truck, you're not allowed to come into Georgetown unless
No, you are.
You are.
You are, absolutely.
That's where the confusion is. So
Right,
out of
because,
state,
because they
out of
also have a
town-
hawkers and peddlers license from the Commonwealth. For instance, we have a couple of peddlers that live in Georgetown. They have businesses in Newburyport, I believe, and one has in Amesbury, but they reside here in Georgetown.
So you permit them?
No, the Commonwealth permits them.
Okay.
I have to reaffirm the record check
Gotcha.
through my office.
So if they're in Groveland and they're coming in here,
The
Groveland.
residential, yes.
The owner.
So for instance, our cupcake person, if they were going to get a hawkers and peddlers license, they would have to go to that, I believe she lived in Groveland. She would get that hawkers and peddlers license signed by the town of Groveland, whoever their licensing authority is.
Yep.
It's probably the police chief. Then she would have to apply here to be able to solicit her product. I shouldn't use the word solicit, but to peddle her product here, because that's the confusion, is it's not solicitation.
Yeah.
Because you're not going door to door on public and private property. You're on public property where you need the Board of Selectmen to author, just like the hot dog vendors and things like that.
Okay.
So it's all kind of hanging out there, and maybe
Yeah.
one adoption of a bylaw where you specifically list every possible vendor there is on those 7 for the fingerprint check. If you use that as the guide, I think that question was posed to me at town meeting. They said, why did you pick just these businesses? Well, if you look at the list, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Because a hawker and peddler, a solicitor, everybody that gets a license in Georgetown to sell goods and wares potentially is suspect to that type of background check. That includes fingerprints, which includes that FBI check.
Okay.
Even the outsiders, though? No, right? They're subject to their own town's rules, only on ice cream. Everything else has to pass
That's
through
correct.
us.
That's correct. Now,
So-
we have, I'm not sure of our bordering towns whether they adopted the civil fingerprint bylaw. We were pretty progressive. I put it before you. We got a message from Mass Chiefs. Their legal opinion was to adopt that, so that in the event this is put on the table of our executive board, that we would have the ability to do background checks.
Makes sense.
Okay. So, Mike, what we need to do is appoint a subcommittee, basically, right? Tonight, is that our order of business?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so,
We haven't run this by the other committees, or have we?
No.
So we don't know who to appoint yet.
well, what I was wondering, Mike, what if we take a vote on it tonight, and then, subject to those particular departments and boards appointing somebody for that, or not? Do we have to appoint the specific individuals?
Well, the final appointments need to be specific individuals.
Okay.
But I do have a staff meeting tomorrow morning.
Okay.
We can discuss it at that.
Okay.
Probably everyone won't be there.
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
What I would have Mike, fill in the blanks for us and bring us a recommendation at the next meeting. So what departments are we looking for? It's right there on
Public,
there, right?
Public Works, Police, Building, Health, and Fire.
Okay. So
All
Mike,
right, so you'll talk to everybody and see if we can get names
Yes.
that would be willing to serve? Okay.
Can I ask a question on that,
Sure.
Mr. Chair? I have looked this over, and most of what's on here I like. I know we've seen several in the past from other towns, but the committee is one thing that I do have some concerns with. And just let me, because we're talking about our town here, but yet a lot of these people that are on here, fortunately right now, I believe probably 50% of them are town residents. But it could be possible that this could be a committee made up all of people that don't reside in Georgetown. And I am somewhat fearful of that. I mean, I know that we don't have a public works department, so to speak, so we need to make a decision on that, whether you're talking a highway inspector, someone from the electric, water. I mean,
I would think it would
the
be
police
highway surveyor,
department.
probably, right? Somebody in there? Is
Yeah,
that the intent?
because if they're gonna be parking on the city streets.
Right.
All these people need
Yeah,
to know
highway
about
surveyor.
it. It's an advisory committee.
Well,
And
that
it's a staff advisory committee.
It doesn't read that way, because it says at its sole discretion, the Mobile Food Vendors Committee may limit the number of designated food zones within the town to promote the health, safety, convenience, and welfare. I mean, I realize down below it says the issuance of a permit is by the Board of Selectmen, which I'm happy with. But we're talking like they're a committee that's gonna report back to us, but I don't see that this reads this way.
He's right, I read it the same way too. So, and maybe it's just fixing some language here, but
I'd be fine with that if
Yeah.
they're more, as Mike
Again,
just
it's in draft
described.
form, so.
Yeah.
It may recommend to limit,
it says may adopt regulations as well.
yeah, they can't adopt.
get the sole discretion out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just clean it up to just say this is an advisory committee to the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen has final authority on approval of all regulations, as well as permitting.
Instead of adopt, say may recommend.
Yeah, recommend on 3, section 3.3, and then,
With the exception of conservation, that committee right there made up is our hazard mitigation committee as well. It's the same exact
Okay.
participants that we appoint for our hazard mitigation plan. We basically touch every department, so there's
Right.
feedback for the
Yeah.
department, and we report our findings to Mike.
Any other?
Well, if I,
Markups?
on section 4, what I had read earlier, that, you know, the issuance of a permit is by the Board of Selectmen. So would that be at an open meeting of us? Because that was a concern, that it sounds like you want to go that way. When I saw that this committee at its sole discretion was doing these things, they could give us a thing, say, give this guy a permit, and some of what we've been doing is just been not before us at an open meeting. I'd like to see this before us at an open meeting. I don't know whether you need to add that language, but
Well, I think
We
issuance of
have
any
to
permits
issue
have to
all
be an
permits in open meeting.
Yeah, that's a given.
okay, well, we've been doing some contracts recently that, so that's,
Let's leave, you mean an executive session?
no, not that type of contract. We had some of the, I think the CPC contracts, something of that sort, that was,
Well, if we do issue a permit, we have to do it in an open meeting.
It says
I
the
get what you're
application
saying.
must receive approval from each department in the committee prior to its final approval and issuance of a permit by the Board of Selectmen. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's-
it'll end up on that, you know. Any other, strikes or thoughts?
on page, I guess it's the third page in now, on section 2. So we, or this committee can zone out, let's say, our parks, our beach and sporting fields, if they felt that needed to be. It sounds like they would have the right to do that. I mean, I know sometimes, like, I attend to concerts, and they usually try to have a nonprofit there. It's just good, it's a good fit. You don't want the hot dogs stand right there at the same time. So I guess that's, would have the ability to sort of zone that out, where it mentions that, you know, that we're looking for, on the next page, we're looking for a proposed location, the food vehicle, dates and hours of operation. So we could exclude that type of thing. I mean, there may be time where we may want them there. I know, like, one hot dog guy wanted to be down at, I think it was a West Street Fields.
Correct.
And if no nonprofit in town or anybody has a problem with that, I also don't see a problem with it. But I don't want somebody to end up in competition with our,
I think the purpose of the document, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, this was just a draft of what another community did. This is
no,
not,
this,
this-
Mike told us came from
Wasn't
K&P,
this
Well,
correct?
KMP that they did it for other communities?
it did, but
Right,
it had not
was
been
on
vetted
the
out in any
shelf.
way. Yeah, it had not been vetted out for our community at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
That's
When I
what
see
the
some language in
Committee
here,
would do is strike
yeah,
this.
yeah,
and
we
clean
would
it
say
up.
that obviously in Georgetown, any committee appointed by the board would not have that executive authority that the Board of Selectmen would. I think that, you know, if we had our, just like our department heads, we sit and we determine what potentially a bylaw change is, it comes before the board and it's vetted for your approval, especially where my office and other offices are actually the enforcement authority. It's really not our role to create legislation. We're there to enforce it, but we're there to provide guidance, the Board of Health, myself, possibly highway for parking regulation and the like. So I looked at this document more as kind of a, just the beginning,
Yeah, well, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking the questions. And
because I see some things in here that,
you
I
are
mean,
the enforcer.
exactly, and it's probably not a good thing to have the enforcer creating the legislation. You know, it's supposed to have that check and balance. So I agree.
Gary, it's the idea about the nonprofits at the field, that kind of goes on unofficially right now. I was talking with one of the members of the cultural council, and if the Boy Scouts are down there selling hot dogs and a hot dog vendor shows up, they shoo them away. That's been their practice.
There is somebody who's very willing to go up and tell them, hey, get
Yeah.
out of here.
I think we both know who we're talking about.
That guy looked like Santa Claus.
No, it's not.
I think this is a good draft.
I
No, I
do,
think it is.
I also think so.
If there's
I'm glad
markups and
this-
things, I'd recommend you send them over to Mike,
Yeah,
and at that point, Mike, you can kind of vet it through legal, and then have the committee, once we get it formed, look at it and
I think with the four
put in specifics.
legislative changes that we've made, civil fingerprint, ice cream, now food truck, and potentially the second-hand shops, which is in every bit of legislation, which we also have not addressed, that is also pending. We've had that before the board for a couple of years. We may want to include that so that we can go and get all of these bylaws fixed once and for all, and then, we can move from there.
Yeah.
Because that's another whole avenue that is also mentioned in the civil fingerprint bylaw as well, concerning secondhand shops.
Okay.
And it's also part of new legislative changes for law enforcement relative to pawn shops and things like that. That's coming down the road too. So if we could
State's
be,
coming up with something as well?
well, and just like every other bylaw that we have to adopt, even though there's legislation under Mass General Law, we still have to adopt our own bylaw for enforcement.
All right.
so.
So
just-
that's also pending.
Then,
If I could, just for clarity, then, because it sounds like this will end up in front of a town meeting. 'Cause they-
Absolutely.
in the spring.
Okay, well, no, Mike had thought, I believe I asked him before that we could do this here, perhaps it's more the regulations of it.
It could be.
It sounds like it gets deeper, it may need to go.
Well, I'll double check with legal counsel, but it can be a selectmen's regulation without.
Oh, okay.
It's in the bylaw book, but it's a regulation, not a bylaw.
Okay, so just if we have clarity going forward, because we don't wanna,
We've been kicking this thing around for a while. I mean, when are we gonna come up with the final language and?
Well, that's what, we need to get this committee put together, and then whatever red lines you guys have,
Okay.
send them up to Mike.
In the Board of Health, I met with them this morning.
go to
They
a
have-
committee meeting.
They have many ideas that are already in place, things that they use, because they are the regulatory enforcer for food. And our Board of Health works in other communities. They have bylaws that they're already using in other communities. So, I mean, they're definitely a resource to get this done and expedite our work on it.
Okay.
I use them as my sounding board because I don't know anything about cupcakes and ice cream, and that's their job.
You just know how they taste. Exactly. So, Mike, that a good
Yes.
thing? And see if we can get some red line back for the next meeting.
Yes.
That'd be great. Good committee input.
That's all I have.
Chief. All right. Have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Take care, Donnie.
Thank you, gentlemen. Howard, is ours pretty quick?
Yeah. Should be really quick.
Okay. Howard, why don't you come on up, and then we'll address GAA. That might take a few more minutes. The home project funding agreement for approval with the Affordable Housing Trustees. We have Howard here from the planning
Agent of the
board.
trust.
How are you, sir?
Okay, how are you?
Great. So, tell us what's going on with this thing.
Well, the Home Consortium is, Georgetown is a member of the consortium, and the Home Consortium receives their funding through the federal government, through the Housing and Urban Development. And as a member of the Home Consortium, Georgetown is allocated a certain amount of funds every year. And through this loan agreement, we're going to be able to capture those funds because we're moving forward in an agreement with them of where the funds will be going. This is something that hasn't been done in the past, and this is specific to the actions and activities of the Affordable Housing Trust in the task force.
Specifically earmarked for rental assistance program?
Yes.
Phil and I should know we're on the trust, so
Yeah.
just full and fair disclosure.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get money out of these guys for a long time, and we finally got to the point where we're gonna be able to take some money in, right?
Right. Take the money, and we've got some of the participants in the rental assistance program will receive this money, but this loan agreement, which has been vetted through town council, it was their requirement it be signed by the selectmen, and the town council believed that signing by the trust was adequate enough, but so that's why the trust has already signed it.
Okay.
But the Board of Selectmen signing it is just a matter of redundancy, but it will make the home consortium happier.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'll
Mr. Chair.
entertain a motion here.
Yeah, I'm happy, since I didn't get to sign this, as I missed this meeting. Chair, I move that we accept the home project funding agreement between the town of Georgetown and
Georgetown Affording Trust, is that?
Home, no.
the
home-
North Shore Home Consortium,
Thank
as
you.
presented.
Thank you. There
Second.
it is. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. We have a 3-1. All right.
Now, this is for fiscal year 14, so once HUD gives their allocation of money for fiscal year 15,
We go back.
we'll receive another one of these for your review and approval.
Okay.
Good job, Howard.
All right, thank you.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah, finally we got,
Getting ahead.
finally we got some.
You digging out?
Yeah, no, this is good stuff.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Have a great
Appreciate
night.
it. You too.
Howard, we all set from Wednesday night for a quorum or no?
As far as I know, we are, yes.
I'm 50-50. I said no, but I might.
I haven't heard no from anybody else.
All right, thank you.
I'm in.
Hey, Mark, John, you guys want to come up?
Anyone else?
Anyone else involved? Any other stakeholders? Hi, Barbie.
Gail with us as well, and then Barbie's here from school committee.
Yeah, and we have Lindsay, Barbie from Gale, right?
Right.
Yep. All right. So this topic, we have the GAA here for the donation and first turf field use agreement. Mike, why don't you bring us up to speed? I had informed Mark about legal counsel's feedback, so long and short of it is we're not agreeing to anything today, signing anything today, but we've got legal that's got to do a little bit of work. Doesn't sound like it's going to be really too much heavy lifting, but it's somewhat significant, but we were hoping to be able to
What kind of timing are you
get
looking
here.
at as far as how long is it going to take, I guess is what the question is, because we're up against a time clock now with the bid for one,
Yep.
getting it done this year because of the school, the seasons and everything else. So there's definitely time sensitivity, and it's not like this wasn't approved a year and a half ago, so some of this stuff could have been done a long, long time ago, instead of being
Probably
right
by
here
the
at the
next
last
meeting we
minute.
could have it, Mike?
That's September?
No,
No,
August
no,
18th.
August.
Yes.
2 weeks from now.
And you're right, John, it should have been done a year ago.
No question.
But now we've waited to the last minute, and we find ourselves, creating our own emergencies.
Well, I'm not sure what the real issue is, because
Well,
we have a
I-
check here for $445,000 to pay for the whole thing, okay?
Let
So
me
that
tell
pays
you
for the
what the
field.
problem is, and I'm not an attorney, and I don't play one on television. I was on vacation last week, and I get back today, opened up an email, which the field use agreement and the trust document and the slightly revised donation agreement. Let me start by saying the legal counsel thinks the trust agreement's a good idea, that works real well. And when he was reading the, and they wrote the donation agreement, as I said, a year ago, and clause number 4 in this, I think it's still clause number 4, speaks to this agreement represents the entire agreement. But it doesn't because of the field use agreement. So both agreements have to reference the other agreement.
I agree with that.
But their biggest concern was the use agreement reads too much like a lease. And legal counsel has always proposed that it be a license agreement. And once again, I'm not an attorney, but the way they explained it to me, any thing that has exclusive use and control is for all intents and purposes a lease. And if it is a lease, which they believe it sounds too much like a lease, it needs town meeting approval, and it has to go through 30B procurement laws. So it has to be bid out. So the way to fix that is to make it a license. The main difference between a license and a lease is check my notes. A license is revocable at will. A lease is not. There has to be language in it that the school department can, at their desire, terminate the agreement. Now, that doesn't mean they can do it without repercussions. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I would
They
say that
could-
there's no donation without I mean, it doesn't make any sense for us, obviously, at that point. I mean, our secondary purchase of the turf is contingent upon, obviously, the use of that field. And if they revoke the agreement,
There's-
and we're not using the field, so that means we're not on the hook for the replacement of the turf. Is that?
precisely,
So, fine,
yeah.
no problem.
And so that language, and I talked to them at 4 o'clock this afternoon. I said, can you have it done by 7? He said, well, that's pushing it a little bit. He'd like to spend a little more time than a few hours. So I would say we definitely can have new language in 2 weeks. And if the board wanted to hold a special meeting, which we have done in the
Yeah,
past.
if it's available next week.
But
Then
my
we'd be
question
happy
is,
to
why,
do that.
why isn't this been written into any of these? I mean, this paragraph, this stuff has been the same. I mean, we've had 5 revisions of this agreement. That's not changed.
This was written by
Yeah, it was
the town attorney. So,
right.
I mean, why are they all of a sudden come
The
to?
donation agreement's the same. The use agreement is brand new. No one.
Not brand new.
No, it's not.
It just got
It's
written last week.
no, that's
We had
incorrect.
that last month.
We've had this since day one.
Our big thing was attaching the 2 agreements together so that the selectmen agreed to the
We'd
fact
see
that-
everything. Everybody
so
would have
everybody would
everything.
see all the
Yeah.
documentation. So
Mhm.
that's why I always had trouble with that, saying this is the entirety of the agreement, because it's a, we're doing something for them, they're doing something for us. It's a partnership. So one partner, you can't have a partnership without 2 people holding up their end of the bargain.
Right,
So-
but as we discussed, the school committee controls the use of the field. The selectmen have nothing to do with the use of the field.
They've agreed. I mean, Carol and I
I know, but I'm just, they don't
It's not
have
like-
any legal control over the use of school
But what I'm
property.
saying, Mike, is the legal counsel put this in there. This is, again, if we've gone over this 5 times and we haven't had any license discussions till this point.
No, the license was day one. The original discussion was a license agreement.
Our problem is August 11th is technically the start date on this project. We need to get this thing done by November 20th, basically, because you're dealing with seasons at the high school. It's all about, their sports. You're having to move all their sporting events, all their games away. Soccer's out of there, football's out of there. They're not really looking forward to doing that one year. They've already had to do it. Basically, they did it the spring and now the fall. And if this doesn't work out, you're still going to have to put a whole new field in there. You're going to have to remove the arsenic. Now you're going to have to put a new grass field in there.
Plus the
It's
11th gives the contractor over 2 weeks to get all the dirt off that field with all those trucks, all those tractors before school starts. And if anybody here understands what it's like when there's school going on, can you imagine dump trucks all day long coming from here out of there?
I understand all that, but this has been on the table for over a year, and we're waiting 1 week to 11 days before it has to happen.
I have no idea what you're talking about. This has been on the table for over a year. I have no idea what that means.
This donation agreement was drawn up by the selectmen, by the legal counsel, almost a year ago.
All right, so are you guys around Thursday night? Anyone?
Yeah, I can be around.
I can be here.
Can we get something by
As
Thursday?
long as you have a quorum, they can
But I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
So, the attorney representing the school department is different than the attorney that's representing the town
I
on
don't,
this agreement? Why are we, again, we are where we are. Let's not go back. Let's go forward. Let's get this thing done. My question, though, is the attorneys involved, we're talking like, is it two different offices, or is it all Copeland and Page?
no, they have their own
Okay,
attorney.
so the school committee has their own attorney, and the town side has Copeland and Page.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay.
Can I,
You're paying both of them, don't worry.
Right, well, that's the point, is.
I
you
should
know,
say we're
can't
paying
we just
both
get
of
these
them?
attorneys together, get it done, and move on, get this thing done? I mean, I can be around Thursday, you know, if we need a simple vote, that's, you know, as long as legal counsel on our end gives us the green light, we wanna get this thing rolling.
They,
Well, Dave, just to let you know, I'm like shocked coming in here thinking
me
this
too.
because we left the school committee meeting on Thursday night. Everything looked great.
Yeah.
I reached out to see if there was any issues like beforehand so we could make sure that with the timeline that we're working on, that nothing makes that timeline, you know.
Different.
So I'm shocked coming here today finding that now. I never recall hearing a license, the word license versus lease. So I don't know if Carol and you have talked about it, but I have not heard that.
I've never heard of it.
I haven't either. And
So,
this is what I do for a living. I review contracts, you know, in the hundreds, and this is a simple contract. This is an hour contract. It's not a year.
So, who's here Thursday night? I am. Are you here Thursday night to me?
No.
No, Dave?
I can swing by.
You around?
Gary, how about yourself?
I'm here, but I'd like to ask, what if we just do this tonight? So
I mean, we have a check here for $445,000.
And he's concerned that it looks too much like a lease agreement. But it's a use agreement, they're in agreement with it. So our attorney says, well, it may not be exactly right. Do it. I
Barbie,
mean,
can
because
I
I'm
ask-
concerned, because if you make it a license, and as Mike said, if they take it, who knows where we could be? If in 2 years they say, no, we're not, and then we're getting sued by these guys, as you said, you don't want to be on the hook to replace it.
Well,
But you just donated $500,000 that you may not be able to use. You'll be suing us.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem quite right, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not happy with the license agreement for you. I'm really not.
Yeah, no, and I'm not happy with that either. I mean,
I say,
why
do
should
it.
why shouldn't we be? We've always had a working relationship with the schools for all the years because we have no towns in this field. I mean, I'm sorry, we have no fields in this town for a youth organization to have their kids play on. So we use the gyms, we use the fields, we use everything. We maintain it, we pay for it, we help out. We have a good working partnership with the schools. So it's not going to change. We're upping the ante, and we have a check here for $445,000 tonight to give to the town to show that we're doing our part. And we're going to do it again 10 to 15 years from now. Whenever the school committee says, you know what, it's time to replace that field, we're going to replace it again.
I'm not the motion guy. Whenever I make a motion, it may not get agreed to. But I just say, you know what, the attorney's had this, as Mike says, it's been there a year, it's in front of us tonight, get it over with.
only the donation agreement. The use agreement has never been reviewed by Copeland and Page.
I am pretty sure that we had this at our last meeting back at the beginning of July. But I just took it out of my packet tonight. I said, I don't need this because I got another one that looks just like it.
It's been tied because we want to tie the agreement.
It was drawn up by GAA.
But we've had it since July, I'm pretty sure. I believe you
That
guys brought
agreement's
this
been
to-
written for more than,
Yeah.
probably almost a year now, so it's been around.
I
It's
mean,
been
unless it's changed.
we're dealing
minorly,
with the athletic director and
yeah, it's
going
been
back and
minorly
forth.
tweaked as far as the wordage. The only thing that's changed in there, if you look back to the wordage of it, is they wanted to be able to use any rental money. I wanted all the rental money to go back toward the repurchase of the turf, and the school wanted to be able to use at least half of that money if they rented out to, a softball, mushball league for whatever reason. They want to be able to use half for the use and replacement, not replacement, but the maintenance of any field in town, meaning any grass field, if they rent from here, they can repair any grass field, they can put it into.
You guys agree?
And we agreed to
agreed.
that, yeah. So it was just, so, it's not, I mean, we've been up and down every which way of this thing. So, I mean, if the legalese are gonna put us through and, really hurt a good thing for the town, I mean, it's really, I don't know.
And make
It's
more money
pretty
for
tough.
themselves.
So,
I wanted to ask Barbie a question. At our last meeting that Carol and John and I had, when I pointed out that the use agreement and the donation agreement need to be separate, I suggested to Carol that school's legal counsel review the use agreement. Do you know if they did?
As far as I know, yes. Yeah, but without Carol, I can't, we got it, or I looked at it before the meeting, and, Carol, I would assume that she had them look at it, especially if it was under the direction that you gave her to do that.
It was merely a suggestion.
Right,
I-
well,
so let me.
Can I make a
If
suggestion,
she
Mr.
did.
Chair?
If your legal counsel tells you it's fine, then we don't need to do anything else.
Right, can I make a suggestion, Mr. Chair?
Mhm.
We pull a staple out of this and act on this as two different packets.
It should be.
One's a use and one's a donation.
Yeah,
So-
it'll be two
And we get it
separate.
done.
Donation agreement's not fine though right now.
You guys don't care if it's a lease or a license, do
Well,
you?
it's
There's
just the.
We only care
Wording.
for,
Right.
well, I mean, we're not gonna wanna get kicked off of there and then be donating, and then on the hook
Right,
for donating the
right.
money. That's why the two go hand in hand. So if you tell me that the school committee says, it's not gonna happen, but if I
They would
can't
only
be,
revoke it for cause, right? For if you guys, and that would be.
I understand that,
in
Yeah,
but
but you're talking about cause against town. It's not like a bunch of out-of-towners are using it. Everybody that's using it are the same kids that are in the high school, that are in the.
and then what happens is you
Yeah.
have cause and you have GAA, okay? If you're talking about cause, you might have a coach down there that acts up. Is that cause? And now you're gonna expect the
No,
GAA.
I think it would have to be
Cause
willful-
pertaining to the contract.
Willful
So,
misconduct and breach of
The only reason I
contract.
suggest that is there a way that we could execute this tonight, and if we have to get it amended, at least you got a contract to get going and signed?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
what there is,
We went through this with conservation. We had a.
You don't need to sign the use agreement.
Okay.
We just have to vote on it.
No, you don't.
no, it's just the donation.
We don't have to do anything, it's a donation agreement. All right.
Well, why is there a signature line on it then?
Well,
It's got
I
a
don't-
signature line on it.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's
We're not
connected.
involved in the use.
Shouldn't be there.
The reason that you see the signature lines on there is because the two agreements have to be connected. When you donate the money, you're expecting something in return, which is the use of the field.
Oh,
If we don't have the use of the field, and the thing is, we're donating the money to the town, which is represented by you guys as a selectman. So if you're saying, so it's gotta be, that's why, when you said it's the entirety, I always had a problem. We have an agreement that we're donating the money in lieu of field use, which we're already doing. We're using all these hours anyway, except we're getting more hours now because there's gonna be lights. That's, I mean, that makes it all worthwhile for GAA. Without the lights, it doesn't make any
So
sense.
if I got this correct, Mike, this is an agreement between the public schools and the GAA, and it really doesn't need our approval on it.
Correct.
Okay, so,
The use
so
of the field.
that's, we don't
Right.
care
So
about
we'll
that.
strike
We
that.
could still
We
vote
can't.
to have, to let
Support
Stu
it.
sign it. Because it's asking for the chair.
We can, right, vote to support it.
We don't even have to sign it, but you can vote to support it.
That's fine.
Well, you guys are bonding the project, so we have to have the fact that that bond has gotta go forward, obviously. Without
That's
that, we got no.
The donation agreement.
Yeah, that's the donation agreement.
The-
The use of the field is
Oh,
not
no,
the
okay.
jurisdiction of the Board of Selectmen.
Correct. That's the
Why are
school
we
committee.
why are we even concerned with that?
Right, so we not on that at all.
Their attorney wants us to have it. I think that's what we're hearing.
Who's
Well-
attorney? GAA's or the?
Attorney,
No, we don't.
School.
You don't use an attorney, guys.
Like, someone put that on there.
So-
And I thought I heard
So
earlier.
This has been, all we've, it's gone back, it's gone to the town's attorney, it's gone to the school committee's attorney.
Okay.
And we have given them parameters of the agreement that we need to have in order to make these donations. And the parameters are, we'll buy the turf, which is, I think, $445,000 plus dollars.
Yeah.
And we have a check here tonight for that entire amount for the purchase of the turf right now. And then we're gonna put money aside, about, looks like $45,000 a year for the next 10 years, so that the repurchase of the new turf, the replacement of the turf, will happen 10 to 15 years from now. And that's basically the short and the long
Right,
of the
and-
agreement. I don't need any of this stuff. I'm telling you, this is what we're gonna do.
But that's
So-
why we got to this trust agreement, because the town's attorney came back to us and said, we need to.
Then I had to get an attorney,
We,
'cause
we,
I had to get
we
the
had to
trust
set up
agreement.
trustees, him and I are trustees
At the bank.
at
Yeah.
the bank, Georgetown,
Now we
Athletic
can't get
Association
out of
Board
this
of
for
Directors.
15
We're
more
gonna be
years.
on this thing, like I said the other night, till we're in Dressel Way, the way we're going here.
All
And-
good
and-
deeds, buddy.
But,
Can't get out of this
so,
for 15 more years.
that, we did this, we did what the town asked for this agreement.
So look, guys, this is I mean, we don't do too many public partnerships like this, so, you know, this is a very complex agreement that we've got. In paper, it's got simpler, but the structure of this was complex to get into, to go through this whole process. The you know, the testing down there, so, look, I'm ready to get this, Mr. Chair, I move that we, agree to the donation agreement between the town of Georgetown and the
Georgetown Athletic
Georgetown
Association.
Athletic Association as presented.
Second.
All right, discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, might I make a suggestion? We vote on this tonight. If Mike does some further research and finds out we have to be part of the use agreement, we'll get that info, we'll get it to you, we'll have a meeting by the end of the week, and we'll approve it.
Anytime, any place, just let us know. We'll
Yeah,
go.
we just need to move with it,
Yeah, yeah.
we need
No,
to
we
get.
know, we know
I mean,
time's
the
of
use,
the
I mean,
essence.
with this donation agreement, you can go ahead and start construction.
Yeah, as long
Right.
as that bonding, you
Like
got
I
the
said,
bonding.
school
There's two
committee
things that need to change on this.
With the donation agreement, that's all we need.
Right.
However,
This
there's two
agreement
things.
has nothing to do with the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
Uh, The only suggestion was that they both mention each other.
Right.
Cross-reference.
Yeah, okay.
But also, you had said that under 2, we wanted to have some mechanism for how the town receives the money for the replacement.
The town's actually not gonna receive the money for the replacement.
It's going in,
Because-
that's the trust agreement.
Right.
That's the trust agreement, because they couldn't,
The
because what
trust
happens
agreement
is,
will identify
I went
the
through
So
sole
would that be,
purposes
that
for
would be,
withdrawals.
that would be
this
the
was another
mechanism.
painful process.
Yeah,
The-
don't tell me
But
about it.
this was, the attorneys agreed to this is their
Yeah,
agreement,
they
right?
said that was a good idea.
Can you,
Okay.
can you just look at where it defines disbursements and what disbursements, what, the parameters for disbursements are? And that will say it in
You mean
there.
as far as spending the money?
Yes.
It's at the discretion of the
What's it-
school committee.
Right.
So bingo, we're covered.
So it's,
Whoa, 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 what do
we
you
have
mean
a
it's at the
10-year warranty.
discretion of
We're gonna,
this-
this project comes with a 10-year, the turf has a
Purposes,
10-year
certain
warranty on it.
purposes.
Oh, okay.
So we know we're gonna get a 10-year lifespan minimum out of it.
Mhm.
So it's all gonna be covered. And then, 30 years from now, you guys are on your own.
Right.
Mark and I will be long gone by then.
Yeah, Mark, 'cause there's something
We'll
in
be
there
at
that
Trestle Way.
covers who can make withdrawals and what, for what
I'll
purposes.
wheel you around.
Generally, those trust agreements have that.
It's a
there.
consent of the consolidation, merger, adjustment, accounting, trust and amendments.
So once the money goes in there, it can't come out.
It states right in there, we put the money into the trust agreement, it
Put a
can
couple of
only be
addendums on
used for
this?
the replacement of the turf. If the GAA goes under for whatever reason, any money in that trust
Pending
fund goes to the
Legal
town.
counsel.
Right.
To only be
Final
spent,
approval.
again, for the
Trust
replacement of
agreement
the turf.
between GA and
So,
Sprite.
I mean, all that stuff is in there. The committee is it's set up as a committee and the trustees. Mark and I will stay on as the trustees until this is taken care of. And the committee, which will direct the action, will be the executive board of the GAA and all the directors, which are the directors of each sport. So it'll be a 9-member committee, and Mark and I will be the
So it
trustees
says
of the account.
exclusive purpose of the trust and trust fund. The trust is created and shall exist and shall be operated exclusively for the purpose of the replacement of the turf field and field on property belonging to the town of Georgetown School Department, and no part of the net earnings of the trust shall inure to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual, or no part. The trust fund shall consist of carrying on propaganda or otherwise. So,
And then here, replacement of the turf. GAA shall make an annual deposit into a trust account maintained by the GAA at the Georgetown Bank, Georgetown Savings Bank, for the sole purpose of reserving funds to replace the turf field, including cost of materials, installation, when requested by the town. So, to me, I think we're covered all the way around on this. It's just, the use agreement is, thank you for letting us know, but we don't really need to know about the use agreement. That's on the school committee. That's their responsibility. It's their it's their field. I'm very comfortable with doing it.
Just done.
So.
well, that's the, right.
Well, so the only other concern was this last
entirety
paragraph,
issue.
the entire agreement. This agreement represents the entire agreement between the parties. Here and
This
two,
doesn't
so.
reference any other agreement.
Just line it out.
So we just
It
strike it?
doesn't apply.
Okay.
Right.
All right, so,
Make a motion to amend the original motion, strike out as Phil's original motion as presented, and remove Article 4, entire agreement.
second?
He was the second, I made the motion.
Okay.
So we're voting
Any
on the
discussion?
amendment to take this out.
All right, all those in favor of the strike?
Do we really want to strike that? I mean, are they okay with striking that?
That's fine with us.
That's fine with us.
Okay.
They're gonna have to initial it.
Thank you, though.
School committee and the GAA would have to initial the strikeout.
Why?
They've already
To
signed
show-
Did you already vote on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Thursday.
Because,
Great,
you know,
can you guys get together to,
They don't have to get together, individual.
you know, Mike's concern was, the legal concern was that it looks too much like a lease, but it's not a lease.
No, not the donation agreement, the other one.
No, but that's why you're striking it, so you leave it in there, so.
Actually, you could leave it in there because there's nothing referencing.
It's not
This is
referencing
the
it
entire
either.
yeah,
That's true,
donation
this
agreement,
is
so what possible
technically,
difference does it
in
really make?
terms of, for the Board of Selectmen, it's the only agreement.
That's the only agreement
Yeah.
that's on the table for you guys.
That's
And the
true.
rest of our stuff is with the school committee.
I'm a
I
nay
mean,
on
for
the
us, we want it connected, obviously, because if you guys come back to us, and that's why we don't want a cancellation agreement, we'll work out our problems. Can I monitor every single parent that's a coach down there that acts like an idiot? No. I mean, it's impossible. You know what I mean? But we do the best we can. We Cory check every coach. You know, if there's issues, they don't get reappointed.
But John,
So,
the only concern is, we may not be the people sitting in this room
and
8,
we
10
don't
years
plan on
down
being the
road.
people either.
Right,
Well,
so we have
will
to make
be.
sure that it's tight, really, in all
Well,
honesty,
I'm with you.
you know?
Yeah.
That's why, and it's not.
I mean, we're standing here with almost $500,000 to show our good faith
Well,
and
we never
credit here.
refuse money, remember that? That ain't gonna happen. So do you want me to withdraw my motion? Do you think that's prudent, Mike?
Vote on it.
I'll leave it as is.
I'm a nay.
just vote on it, we'll vote nay.
I'm not giving you legal advice.
Thanks, Mike.
Why
Call
don't
the
you call
vote,
for a
Mr.
vote?
Chair.
Yeah, I'm
For
just
that.
reading this again, that's all.
I'm not an attorney, but could we just add to that? It says, this agreement represents the entire agreement between the parties, supersedes all prior negotiated representations or agreement, either written or oral, for the donation of the
Yeah,
funds.
but now you're
Problem
sending
is,
it back to
anything,
the school
yeah,
committee.
anytime you make an amendment now, they voted on it, now it's gonna
Yeah.
go back, so
There you
that's
go.
the.
That's,
No, don't change anything. If you're
Alright.
gonna prove it as is.
Why don't we just,
Mr. Chairman,
why
call
don't you
the,
just
call
have
the
my word?
question,
All right,
please.
so, all those in favor?
Nay.
nay,
Nay. All those opposed?
nay.
Nay, nay.
That's on the motion.
There you go, that's
So
on the
we're back to
motion.
the original agreement.
So we're back to the original agreement as written.
Mr. Chairman, call the question, please.
Okay, so we've had discussion.
I've asked to call the question.
Okay,
Vote.
that's what I was gonna say.
Do
We've
it.
had discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? No. All right.
All right, can I ask, do we, why don't we say,
Run.
in case it's
Run.
needed, ask that we give support to the use agreement? And if the signature is needed, it's there. So I'd like to make a motion that we vote to, I'm not the motion guy.
I would be more comfortable, let Mike do his thing tomorrow, talk with, about the use agreement.
If you guys
separately.
need our
If they need us,
signature,
we're in. If we don't, we're out.
we'll be happy to sign the use agreement, but if we don't, then
Right.
it's all you
We're
guys.
either in or out,
Okay.
based on what legal counsel has to say.
All right, I'm signing this before we.
To me, it's getting it started. We got 10 years to work out the rest of the details. I mean, that's,
There's no
We
reason
really
we
do.
couldn't do an amendment
If
if
it
we
were that
needed to.
simple.
As long as, well, in all honesty,
As long as all
as long as
parties
you go on
agree.
record to say that if there's issues with this, that you guys would come back to the table.
For
and be a-
an amendment
On
or,
record,
There you go.
We're good.
we're good.
Okay.
Now, Lindsay Barbie from Gale was great enough to come out today, which I really appreciated. Does anybody have any questions for her specifically about the project that she'd be able to answer?
Wow.
An
Yeah,
update?
I have a couple, but maybe because I wasn't here, I was traveling, but these questions may have already been answered. I understand, will we have stands for people to sit and watch the games?
Yes, the Brookside currently has not had stands for about 20 years since soccer started because of the expansion of the field.
Right.
If you grew up in this town, there were stands along that
Yeah.
side, right? If you played football here, you ran into stands.
We were hoping to put them back there.
With Ann and Norn. We had originally hoped that they were gonna be there, but because of the size, because of the conservation, couldn't fit them in there.
And
So-
also, just so I can add, if we put them in there, we were gonna be permanent stands, and we would've had to put in like 5 bathrooms, which was gonna be another $750,000.
That was my next
More than
Right.
that, we'd heard.
So,
Right, yeah, it might have
the
been more than
current-
that, so they
currently-
killed us right there with
Currently,
what we
right
wanted to
now,
do.
stands are brought out and they're put, if you know where the infield is from the
Yep.
baseball
Yep.
field. So for high school football games, there'll be stands on that side of the field. The goal is to get them on wheels, so they can be moved in and out easier.
Yeah, we're gonna buy
and
portable stands, that we're
portable
gonna
stands.
move from position to
Second
position
question.
according to the.
They got
to
a
the-
tractor
to what
with a
we're
3-point
playing.
hitch, you can
Yep.
pick it up and put it where you want.
Second question, maybe school committee directed, so will the school be open for use of bathrooms during the games?
Yes, they are now.
Yeah, and we're also
I-
putting,
I don't have kids in
we're
school.
also putting a porta potty down there,
Put porta potties.
yeah, because that was
Which will
another
be,
issue.
yeah, because
had to be
it
solved.
was difficult to get up to the
For school.
bathroom for some.
Yeah,
so.
and then there's
And
also a
last question is
problem with-
ongoing maintenance. Who's responsible for the ongoing maintenance of the field? Because there will be maintenance.
The school is responsible, it is gonna be under a 10-year warranty, the school is gonna be responsible for the maintenance of the field. Mike Anderson is
Okay,
taking that on.
so do we have a number on that? Is that like a $8,000 to
That's
$10,000
Part of
bill
the
a year to
turf, right?
turf field?
We know it's cheaper.
Right.
Royalty, but there is maintenance to those fields, and not
So
just put it in and that's it.
Rumor comes with the purchase of the field,
Okay,
the turf, so they basically pull it behind any small equipment they have,
okay.
groom it every couple weeks or every month, and, replace some of the rubber infill every now and then, and groom it up, and that's basically really it.
Does it have to be, again, this is just, I should have been at the meeting, but I was traveling. Does it have to be repainted every so many years?
So,
Is it 10 years and that's
they've
it?
selected, several of the sports will actually be permanent, inlaid, so the actual fibers are the color of the stripe.
We're not letting them paint on that field at all.
Can you tell them what sports?
There is one sport that's field hockey.
Right,
Field
their
hockey that
field
is
hockey
not.
has their own field, so they're gonna be, they already have their own field
So
over on the high
soccer,
school.
football, and lacrosse, men's and women, will all be permanently stitched in the field.
And actually the baseball
And the-
field.
and
which is-
baseball field.
And the baseball, so, but that's over separate, you know what I mean? So it's kinda, you have, it's gonna be busy over there for that one spot. I mean, what I would suggest to the school department would they be, in the games that they're playing, you just put cones along the sidelines of the sport that's being played. But it'll be a home field advantage because maybe some of these other towns will be running out of bounds and our kids will know the color of the lines.
But it's less expensive to paint,
Right.
but long-term it's not, because it's hours and hours of maintenance people out there. If you've seen any of our fields painted recently, it doesn't work out too well.
All right, my questions are answered. I appreciate it, and thank you.
what would,
Who's accepting the check?
what would void the warranty for some reason?
What would void the warranty?
I will make sure it gets to the treasurer.
Just make sure Mark didn't take it out of there.
Wait, I want to get a picture of this. This is a huge
I know, it's
donation.
nice, isn't it?
Would you guys, after we finish here, I'll take a
Sure.
picture with you and hand
Sure.
it over to our chair. I want to put that in the paper. That's huge.
Okay, thank you.
So
Am I wrong?
warranty,
I would
Take the
say
check.
something like, use that shouldn't be, as in like firecrackers or lighting some of the turf on fire or something like that. Or if you were using it against the standard procedures, which are basically,
Driving a fire truck
So
on
we
it.
don't wanna have
Oil
annual
stains,
fireworks
stuff like that.
displayed.
yeah, you don't wanna,
bonfire.
puncture the turf, you don't wanna have fireworks.
I mean, they're gonna
That
plow
would
it
not be
in,
good.
Don't do it anymore.
February, they're gonna plow the field.
Yeah, we can plow the
with the
snow off
Kubota
this field,
and,
just put a little
and they'll
rubber
use
thing
it.
and we'll be open for business by March, ready to go over there.
There will be a sort of a maintenance, a manual that comes with the turf, basically, that kind of goes through. There's gonna be a training session to teach the town guys how to maintain it, and you'll understand kind of what the typical.
Mike Anderson's really on top of this too, so he's excited. He's been on the stack committee, so he's.
I think you guys will be on top of it also.
You're giving you that impression.
I quit mushball for this fall just to watch this project. I'd be down there tonight playing mushball instead of here.
All right, very good. Thank you.
So just locally, a contractor has been selected, on Tenny Street, Cork Construction.
Yep.
So he's a local Georgetown contractor, which is good. So he'll have a lot of skin in the game, as he said. He wants to have a showplace facility here. It's important to him, so hopefully things will go well.
Okay.
So the 18th is when, all
11th is technically the day that he could start the project, the 11th. The big thing that we care about is that he's done by November 20th. So he could start anytime he wants, but he's, correct me if I'm wrong.
We're fine to that.
November 21st, my apologies. He has to be done by November 21st.
Could I get one of you guys to help me just get an article in the paper to let them know what the expectations of the closing the field and all, and just
Can we
around-
get the
around-
contract signed with Quirk first, and then we come back to you with dates?
Of course.
Yeah, I think that's probably the,
Yeah, they need to get their bonds and everything together so you can get started here.
Yeah.
Okay.
so.
Very good.
So you guys are going to take care of the bonds and stuff like that?
Well, we'll talk with Mike.
You already took care of that, I assume.
We will ensure
We've done
that.
so much
Treasurer.
bonding. We've done so much bonding lately.
Yeah, we've been doing way too much bonding lately on
Yeah,
everything,
Joan's
so.
been in
We're
touch,
pretty efficient
and
at
as
that.
far as I know,
I think
everything
we did
is
do that one.
is good.
Good, okay.
Or the anticipation.
There's
I don't know.
information.
That was,
Fine.
Bond council.
That's part, I don't have my hand on
Yeah,
that,
one-
my hand on that part of it at all.
The first one that we did, yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
Check in often with Mike,
Great.
if you will.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I need a snapshot. Take the check and take a picture, you guys.
You should have a big check.
We need a blow up. You didn't bring a big check, so we could take a
No.
picture.
We were gonna get
Get a
Leto to
picture.
do that, but he was too upset at losing the $500,000.
It's been too long for excitement
You
at
guys
this
can all
point.
get in there.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to take a 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
You guys want us to check on that?
5-minute recess?
Yay.
All right, we're back. Board of Selectmen, August 4th, 2014, after a short recess. So, any further discussion on that last topic or no?
No, I think that, we have an agreement in place. If legal counsel feels that we acted inappropriately for this type of project, then they'll come back and let us know, and we can get right back together with them. They've gone on record that they would be willing to do whatever it takes to get it done, so we'll go ahead. I think, we have what was in front of us and we acted upon it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on, correspondence town, a notice from town clerk, resignation of Michelle Sabiga from the FinCom. So, Michelle, thank you for serving, and we much appreciate it. And Janet, on that topic, can we get a recruitment stuffer in the electric bill for September for the open board positions like we did last time? That seemed to be very effective. So if anybody has interest in serving on the Finance and Advisory Board, please contact the town moderator, who is Beverly Enos, and or the Selectmen's office. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was, it's come to my attention from just a lot of constituents that most of the board members don't have an email address on their board, and I know we have an expanded license, so I'd like to get chairman at whatever board on our various town boards website, so that people can correspond with chairs, because there is virtually no information on there for most of the boards right now. That's not an issue, right? Getting that done.
We have enough new
to do that.
email licenses. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Want to extend our condolences to the Boynton family. James H. Boynton passed away. He was 103. He's the oldest citizen in town, as I understand it. My son's friends with one of his great-grandsons, so I've had I know the family, but I also had the honor of meeting Mr. Boynton on his 100th birthday, when we extend the cane.
Post cane.
What is it? The post?
Boston Post.
Boston Post cane, which is an ornamental cane, so to speak, that is handed out to the oldest resident in town, and he was a recipient of it. And I'll read just a quick summary here, and I appreciate Mr. Kaminsky for summarizing it for us. Mr. Boynton died Friday night at the age of 103. He was born in July 12th, 1911 in Haverhill. He graduated from Groveland High School in 28 and Springfield College in 33. Received a master's in education from Salem State College and attended graduate school at Mass State College in Amherst. Mr. Boynton taught in Georgetown High School and Haverhill High School, and was principal at Georgetown for 25 years. So, thank you for your service. He began teaching at the age of 25 in 1933, having been the first coach of soccer, boys basketball, girls basketball, and baseball. He was a camp director for 25 years at the 4-H Camp Leslie here in town, and a member of the Groveland Grange, Charles C. Dame Lodge of Masons, and Apello Shrine. He served as an honorary member of Groveland and Georgetown Mass Historical Societies and past president of Essex County Principals Association, and he is president of Pearly Free School Trustees Scholarship Fund, a member of the Essex County Retired Teachers Association, a former Park and Rec Commission member, and former Georgetown Savings Bank Board of Directors. He celebrated his 72nd wedding anniversary with his wife Helen Chapman Boynton on Christmas Day of 2006. They have 3 children, Beverly, Judy, and James Jr., and 6 grandchildren and 15 great-grandchildren. So the announcement is, our prayers of Christian love and sympathy are sent out to the Boynton family as they grieve the loss of Jim Sr. Family and friends of James Boynton Sr. may call at the First Congressional Church of Raleigh, UCC, at 175 Main Street in Raleigh. That would be tomorrow between 9 and 11. That's Tuesday, 9 to 11. A service of remembrance will be held following the calling hours at 11:30 at the Raleigh Church, and burial will be at Riverview Cemetery in Groveland. So, again, condolences and thank you for your service, Mr. Boynton. It was a pleasure meeting you and making your acquaintance. Want to congratulate Mr. Service on the arrival of little baby Jackson this weekend, right?
Thank you, yeah.
What do you weigh?
7 pounds, 3 ounces.
All right, good. That's
So-
your son's first?
Yes. Yeah,
About
first
half of what
grade.
you weigh, right?
Huh?
Half of what you weigh?
Yeah, half of what I weigh is right.
Did he have a pumpkin head like you?
Yeah, a little bit. No, he's doing great. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Both mother and son are doing
Good. Well, send your love to everybody for us. Let's see, additional things here. Let me see. What do we miss here? We had, there was an addendum here. There is a addendum to the meeting here where we have approval of agreement for the ambulance remount surfaces. I entertain a motion to accept as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
If I may,
Yeah.
is just the remounting, this doesn't include the cost of the vehicle, or is this?
They're taking the box
Right.
off.
Putting a new
the
chassis and everything.
Yes.
No, the chassis stays the same.
Oh, it's the box they're changing? I thought it was a chassis.
No, it's the box that's staying the same. That
Yeah,
I.
they take the box and they're gonna mount it to.
To a
but
new-
the-
new
this-
chassis.
To a new chassis.
So this
Yes.
includes the cost of the new chassis and
This is the
vehicle? This
whole-
isn't just for the mounting of it?
No,
Yeah,
this is the whole
that's
chassis and
all.
everything. Yes,
This is all of it?
yes,
Okay. Excellent.
correct.
And,
Because it's about half as much as a new bus would
I
cost.
remember that, I just
Yeah.
didn't want to find out that this is just for mounting it.
Yeah,
There's
no,
another
this is the whole,
30 grand for a vehicle.
yeah, this is the whole
Mr. Chairman,
deal, yeah.
and the funds are coming from?
The revolving fund?
Not the revolving fund,
The
Enterprise.
enterprise fund, rather, for the,
So this did not, this is from proceeds from all of the billing that they've
For the
accumulated since
services.
we
Right.
started. So
No,
this-
no tax dollars.
That's what I wanted to hear.
there you go.
'Cause that was the agreement from the beginning.
We bid it formally, and the lowest bid is the Professional Vehicle Corp. Out of Rumford, Maine. They bid $78,486. The next bid was $114,845.
Yeah, that sounds more in line with what I think we're talking in the beginning. That's why I was wondering.
Yep.
And you're right, it's at least half of what a whole new ambulance would cost.
Cost, yeah. So it's coming out of the enterprise fund for the ambulance, so that's great
I wanted
news.
to hear.
Yep. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. The only other thing on our agenda here tonight is employee handbook. Any thoughts, discussion?
I think, Mr. Chairman, at the last meeting that we discussed this, I had asked Mike to run it by legal counsel.
Yep.
Has that gone through a legal counsel review, Mike?
Um,
So, legal counsel?
No, it didn't. I waited, I did get substantial input from the police chief,
Yep.
and he made suggestions that we've incorporated into it,
Okay.
are appropriate, but no, the legal counsel has not reviewed it.
We intend on doing that, right?
Well, I think you asked me to get an estimate on how much it would
Yeah.
cost to review it, and when but I haven't done it yet. I
Okay.
put it in regular font,
Yeah.
and it's about 170 pages long.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I think it's good for the initial review, you know, to be honest with you. I think it's, would be money well spent. Let's see what the number comes in, though.
It's a big document. Okay. Anything else, Mike? Anything on your end you want to report?
Well, we did do some other bids in July. We put the highway materials out to bid. Those prices are up, unfortunately. And we also bid out the painting of the town hall. And without disclosing what our budgeted amount was, the bids came in substantially higher than what we have budgeted. So we either have to cut the scope or raise more money. The original, all the money was coming out of CPC funds.
Okay.
So there's not enough money around to do it.
All right. Anything else?
I guess the question is, based on the scope and what needs to be done, can you give us a recommendation on what path you would like to have us go down?
Well, actually, the path I'm looking into is that the state procurement laws just changed where formal bids are now required at $35,000 when it was formerly $25,000. And because it was over 25,000, they had to bid the prevailing wages, and that's what basically
Three out of whack.
doubled the cost of it. So I was going to, I am contacting licensed contractors, local contractors, and see if we can get it under 35,000 for with the same scope, and not have to use
The bidding.
prevailing
Prevailing
wages.
wages.
Did we already bid it, though?
We did, and I just sent a notice out to all the bidders that, you know, they were over budget, and
Good.
thanks for your bid, but
Yep.
we don't have the budget.
Okay.
Very good.
So I'll get up there for 35,000.
Not me.
Nice.
I was hoping
Not
some
getting on a
people
lab
might.
for less than
That's
2
it.
million.
Have one other question, was the fence at Pond Street that we were looking at taking down, did that get into the state? Representative Mira was putting that on a state transportation bill. Do you know if that passed?
Yes, David can speak
Yeah, I
to
can
that.
speak to that. I was in contact with Representative Mira and found out that the transportation bond bill has appropriated $65,000 for that project.
Okay.
So
Great.
I did have a conversation with some residents there, a phone conversation to let them know. We did receive an email as early as today on how to get the money, and Mike's gonna deal with that this week, hopefully. You know, what the process is. It could involve a TIPS grant, could involve, you know,
Okay.
it could involve Chapter 90. But let me say this, let me say thank you to Representative Merritt for his hard work on this particular issue. Along with Peter Durkee, you know, we met several times and put this together so that we could finally get some money from the state to handle this particular issue for us. And so we're very appreciative. Now it's how do we get the money? And so the chase is on. So
Okay.
Mike's going to handle that, and would ask the people on Pond Street to be patient, but we are going to do this project. So thank you again to Lenny Mira and Peter Durkee who put some hours in on this.
Great, and I want to thank personally the Rail Trail Committee and their volunteers and their timeless effort on getting all of the documentation and making progress on the rail trail. You know, about 10 of us spent, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours on Sunday out there bushwhacking between Andover Street and Nelson Street, and we cleared the entire trail from Andover to Nelson. And I got to tell you, man, some of these weeds were like, 6 and 8 feet high. We had the bushwhackers out there, those big cutters and everything, and knocked down the trail. So we're making progress on the rail trail, and I want to thank the board of the planning board for finally getting us over the approval for the skate park and everything behind the church, the New Life Church. So, Mr. Chair and team, thank you for finally getting us over that last hurdle with you guys, and now it's on to Concom, and we may be seeing that park come on out to bid this fall, and make some progress on it, and quite a few things going on here in town. So the only other thing, Janet and Mike, is can you guys kind of summarize for us some of these various projects we got going around so we can kind of just discuss it a little bit in the next meeting? the various projects between Elm Street, and the school and the rail trail and all these other, just because I don't think people really know. I mean, this is a small town, but there's a lot of construction going on. There's a lot of projects going on that are all kind of swirling around simultaneously, and some are starting to close and land, and some are still up there in the stratosphere. But we're trying to get everything kind of to gel so that in 3 years or less we've got more fields and rail trails and all these types of things happening. So I appreciate all the various board members and volunteers in town for the time and efforts that you each put in, because this town is run by volunteers mainly. We have a great group of professionals that are running the town in their various capacities, but a lot of the nitty-gritty work and not always the nitty-gritty work, but some of the bigger, higher level work is done by volunteers on the boards, because we are a town meeting form of government. So look in your mailbox, hopefully in September, for the electric bill. We've got some openings on boards that need to be filled, and some positions that need to be filled, and we rely on you, our residents, to do that. So hopefully we'll see you come forward and planning to serve.
Mr. Chairman, one final thank you before I forget. I'd like to thank the Planning Board and Parks and Rec for the replacement of the fence at the soccer field at Little's Hill. It looks so much better, so much safer for the kids. So a shout out, not because I live in that neighborhood, I do drive by it every day. It was, pretty much a danger and an eyesore. So
good.
Thank you to the Planning Board and the Parks and Rec for getting that accomplished. That's really appreciated.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good evening. Thank you.